In part two of making our new shop Turnout, we're going to have a look at signals and uncouplers, and in particular the Marklin signals and uncouplers as used on the digital system. And once again, taking us through this will be our resident Marklin guru here in Cape Town, John. So John will then show us how to wire up the signals and how they work, and the uncoupler. Okay, so having a look at connecting Marklin signals, we're using the M84 decoder, and John is very kindly connecting to us. So connecting one of these signals over here. What was this called, John?
This is a distance signal. It's a Marklin distance signal, which shows the light of the signal which is ahead, and then that one over there is the light signal, and that one will stop the train in the block when the signal is red. Excellent. And allow the train to proceed when the signal is green.
Great, so we're showing how to wire that up as well. We've also got, what did we call these again, John?
These are the contact tracks, and they have a little switch mechanism in the middle there, which you can probably see. The switch mechanism rolls from left to right from the train slider, and we use that switch mechanism to change the color of the signals.
So as the train goes over the switch, it then changes the signal.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you. And now we're just wiring everything up sort of neatly onto all the wires making their way to the decoder.
We will do this neatly. This
is just to get it started, but everything starts like this.
Exactly.
Okay, so now in this part of the video, we're going to have a look at how the signals operate for the Marklin digital here. So I've got with me John. Hello, John. Thanks for coming through, John.
Hello, Wayne. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. So we've set up a very basic demonstration here of how to wire up some signals. There's about 5 or 6 signals here that we've wired up, and we're going to show you how they work, and then we'll go over how the wiring actually works. We've got the basic Marklin oval that we showed you earlier on in the previous video with the siding over here. So what are these two trains going to do with the signal, John?
So Wayne, the idea is to try and have an automated system where the trains go around the oval and they trigger each other to go and stop at the signals. We're going to make use of the Marklin circuit tracks, which is the little tracks with a flipper switch, and I'm pointing to one here now. Just where that locomotive is, we're going to use those circuit tracks which are connected to the M84 decoder, which drives the signals.
Great. Okay, so I've got my one goods train here. The signal is green, so we'll start the routine here. It's allowed to go now. The signal is green. There we go. Now what happens? How does the signal change?
So Wayne, what happens is after the train goes past the signal, and when it gets to the next circuit track, which in our diagram is on that side over there, it goes over that circuit track and sets the signal back to the red position, and that will stop the train.
There we go, it's just switched over to red now.
Correct. So that will stop the train in the isolated block of track just in front of the signal. There's another circuit track here, which when this train goes over this circuit track, it will trigger that train over there to go. So when it comes from this
so
one,
it's got the red signal. So when this one goes over that part there,
now this signal goes to green and releases this train to go. And this train will once again on that side will switch the signal back to red and then complete the loop. Right, the circuit track is about to be activated now.
Yeah,
and the signal
just gone to red now, yes.
Correct. The train is approaching the next circuit track, and when it hits this circuit track, it will release the other train to go. That signal goes green, and this train will go. So by using these circuit tracks, Wayne, we've got 2 trains to run in an automated fashion on the Marklin system.
Great. So those are our basic signals, the traditional light signals. But they're not just light signals, there's also another type of signal called a semaphore signal. John will take us a little bit through that.
So Wayne, this is the top of the range Marklin signal. It's MFX signal. It's got a decoder in it. It's simple to install, and you can place it anywhere on the track and get the train to stop. And I'll demonstrate it on the layout. So if you want to have a look, that is the Semaphore signal, the top of the range, the 70392 signal. I'll get the train to come round. I'll first of all switch the signal to the red position. You can see now the signal's in the red position. Now I'll get the train to come and stop at the signal. Here comes the train. The train has stopped at the signal and waits for the signal to go green, and there the signal goes green, and then the train proceeds.
Right.
Now, Wayne, if you can also have a look at the ancient 7039 signal. A lot of us grew up with those signals in the early days. That works in exactly the same way as the new MFX signal, and it can also be switched from the mobile station or the central station.
Yes, off position, up position.
And that also has a signal block which allows you to stop the train in the signal block.
Great to see that you can use technology from that old, that long ago, in a modern digital system. Thanks, John.
Okay.
So what are these signals here, John?
When this is a distance signal, which is often used in real life to give a warning, advance warning to the train driver of what the signal ahead will be.
Okay, I can see the one ahead's green and this one's green, so the train's moved through.
Correct. And now we wait for the train to go over the circuit track, and then the distance signal and the home signal will change together.
There we go, they went to amber.
The distance signal goes to amber and the signal ahead goes to red. Now, this distance signal does not have a signal block to stop the train. It's merely an advance warning for the driver of the locomotive.
Excellent. And then that released the other train to go, because the signal on the side now is obviously green. There we go. Okay, so we're going to let our trains carry on playing with the signals going around the track, and John's going to just take us through a little bit of the wiring side of the signals and how it actually all fits together using these decoders.
So when we've got two very important decoders over here, one is the M84 decoder and one is the M83 decoder, and I'll explain the differences to you now. The M84 decoder is used for controlling hobby signals, home signals and distance signals on the layout, and it's essentially a switching function. So you switch the signals from red to green. You can switch lights on and off, and you can switch circuits on and off. That's the function of the M84 decoder. Wayne, if you just also have a look at the back here, I want to point out the connections at the back of the M84 decoder, which allows you to connect circuit tracks to the M84 decoder, and the trains operate the circuit tracks and do the switching for you. Coming to the M83 decoder, this decoder operates solenoid accessories on the layout. For example, your old analog signals, for example, your turnout motors, and for example, your uncoupler tracks, which we've connected to the M83. Wayne, I'm going to take you through some of the wiring of the accessories which we got on the layout in the shop here. To start with, the 70392 signal. This signal is an MFX signal, and it connects directly to the track for the red and the brown wires which operate the signal, and this signal can connect to the track and have a stop block where the train can stop in the middle of the stop block. Now, Wayne, I'm going to talk through the M84 and the wiring of the signals to the M84. Notice that the circuit track is connected to the back of the M84, and that triggers the signals to change from red to green and vice versa. The signals in turn are connected to the M84, and there's also a connection to the stop block on the track, which stops the train and allows the train to go. Now, Wayne, I'm talking through the wiring on the M83. The M83 allows you to connect uncoupler tracks, turnout mechanisms, and legacy signals to the M83 for switching the solenoid accessories.
Okay, John, now we've got some points on the electric points on the system here. Can you take us through some of the different point options we have here?
Yeah, sure. Wayne, so if you have a look at this point here, this is a turnout with a mechanism included it, and this turnout has to be wired through the blue and yellow wires to the M83 over here. It usually involves a lot of wiring under the table, and wiring is often not so tidily done. Let me show you how to do it, how the point switches. So red, green, red, green. Now that one is connected in this diagram here, Wayne. The M83 is connected to the turnout through a wire system. What you can do, Marklin do offer the option of buying a special decoder, the 74462 decoder, which is inserted underneath the turnout, and the turnout can be operated red and green, and it has no wires going to the central control system. A great feature from Marklin Digital.
Can we just change it again one more time so we can see it? There we go. Change nice. There we go. Okay, John, I see on this diagram here we've got an uncoupler unit over here. Can you take us a bit through that?
Sure, Wayne. So the uncoupler units can connect to the M83 decoder through the wiring system, and they're jolly useful items on the layout for shunting. So go and have a look at the shunting yard which we've got there, and I've got a loco which I'm reversing into the shunting area, and you'll see the uncoupler track is there. You place the locomotive wagon on that track, and then you press the button and uncouple, and you can drive the loco away. A couple of those make a very interesting shunting yard on the layout.
Great. Thanks, John. Another great tutorial.